I'm currently on a weight loss journey that I started a couple of weeks ago. It's only been 4 weeks and 4 days now. Let me just show you guys how I look now. I mean, it's not drastic, but this is me right now. And I'll put somewhere here, me, day one of starting the journey, so you can clearly see the difference. So, yep, that's me right now. I don't know how much I weigh right now. I genuinely do not care. All I know is I'm seeing healthy changes. They're not super drastic changes. This is me right now with my belly out. They're not super drastic changes, but I feel like they are healthy and gradual changes. But it took a lot of self-assessment and iterations for me to get to this point where I am. And I think what I'm appreciating a lot about where I am right now on this journey is the fact that I'm enjoying it. And so I just want to share about 4 things that I stopped doing, which have helped me greatly. And I did take some notes in case I don't forget. So the first thing that I stopped doing was weekly weigh-ins. I've decided to leave the scale because it was very demotivating for me when I went to the scale and the number that I saw was not the number that I was anticipating based on how hard I thought I worked that week. So it was really just a source of stress and lack of inspiration for me. So I decided I'm no longer going to weigh myself weekly. Instead, I'm going to rely more on my energy levels and how I look. So that's the first thing that I've decided to drop. And then the second thing that I've decided to drop was a strict schedule. So when I started, I had this idea that I had to be super strict on a very, very extreme schedule. Gym 6 times a week or 5 times a week, always walk, never have cheat meals, just like go all in and be crazy about this thing. But I've realized that being too strict started making it feel like not fun. It didn't feel like a lifestyle change. It more so felt like a job that I had to do really well, because every week I had performance reviews, and if my performance was bad, I was not going to get a bonus at the end of the month. And it was not a nice feeling. When you let go of being too strict on a schedule, it does not mean you don't have a schedule. You do need to have some form of a routine, right? I think routine is better than saying a schedule. I aim for minimum 3 days a week at the gym. If I can do 4, that's great, but I aim for 3 days at the gym. And I try to be very active, right? And it's not necessarily workout kind of active. It's just moving around more, cleaning around the house, walking to the store instead of taking an Uber or driving. Those small activities that I never used to do because I was just lazy. I started deciding to do them more, and I also allow myself rest. It's okay to spend a whole day not doing anything that is active. It won't kill your entire progress if you've been genuinely active throughout the week. The fourth and the biggest thing, which it is the most life-changing for me personally, was strict diets. And I was on a very strict diet when I started this journey. The first 7 days was a raw vegan diet, and I did not enjoy it. I did not. And I could not imagine myself being on a raw vegan diet every day for a month. And I know there's people who enjoy it. Personally, I did not, right? This time around, I've tried it before. So I've decided to let go of strict diets. And besides the strict part, I've decided to also stop dieting the way other people do. I'll try to make that make sense, because this is really important, guys. If there's one thing you can take away from what I'm about to share, it's this, right? So there's many diets out there that are vastly different. Ketogenic, low carb, low sugar, intermittent, I hope I'm saying it right, fasting, and this and that. There's a lot, right? And they all work, but they all work differently for different people. And one of the things I was doing is, if I just see someone who lost weight and they said they did this, I would just want to follow that. Even the raw vegan diet, how it came about, I saw a lot of people saying they went on a raw vegan diet to change their lives. I was like, well, it's going to change my life too, right? So what I decided to do after the first week of doing raw vegan diet, I actually genuinely decided to sit down and first of all assess myself first, right? And I basically looked at what are the things that are my like weakest points when it comes to food. Do I have a sweet tooth? Do I have a salty tooth, if there's such a thing, or a fatty tooth? Basically, between these three brackets of foods, which ones are my biggest weakness, right? For instance, doing that analysis helped me to understand that, first of all, I don't have a sweet tooth. I genuinely am just not a fan of sweet stuff. I don't sit and crave chocolates or sweets or ice cream. Of course, I'll indulge, but they're just not my biggest issue. So if I had to take sugar out of my diet, I don't think it would make that much of a difference, because either way I was not consuming that much sugar, right? And it won't be that hard for me to strip it off. And then one thing I noticed for me was carbs and fats were my biggest things. Carbs were the like top of the table. I love carbs. And when I say carbs, I'm not saying the healthy carbs. I mean processed carbs, and I don't know what they call them, these gym and fitness people. I'm not there yet. But things like bread, white bread, rice, stuff like that. I loved them so much. I loved me a nice grilled cheese sandwich. I loved a pizza. So like those were my biggest weaknesses, right? And those, I knew that if I was going to make a drastic change in my life that I know will change something, it would be that, because those were the things that I consumed the most of, right? And the second thing that I noticed was dairy. I love cheese, guys. I still love cheese, and I will forever love cheese. Oh my gosh, I can just taste cheese in my mouth right now. That's how much I love cheese. I love cheese. That's why I loved pizza. That's why I loved mac and cheese. That's why I loved grilled cheese sandwich. So I really, really love cheese, and I love carbs and fats and stuff like that. But those are dairy, basically. I love milk. I would literally just pour myself a glass of warm milk with honey and drink it, right? Also because I don't drink alcohol, so I was just like a milk person. So I knew that if there's one thing I need to work on that will make the biggest difference, that was the biggest cause of my weight gain, it's those two things, especially the carbs, right? So that's how I approached mine. And I basically wanted to tailor the problem solving to my own situation. For some people, that may not be the case. For some people, you are literally out here drinking milkshakes every day, eating sweets. Then that's also one of your core issues, right? So that's one of the things that I've realized, that maybe you should tailor a diet to yourself and not necessarily a diet that everybody is doing, unless that diet is tailored to you. So that's one of the things that I did. But also, I could also not just say, I'm no longer eating bread. Like I said, I'm a bread addict. I love bread. I can't let go of bread. And even if I let go of bread for like a week, I will tell myself I'm going to do a cheat day. And that day, I will make sure I eat enough bread to last me the next week. So if you do it in a way that is punishing, it becomes unsustainable, and it becomes easier for you to bounce back. And I'll tell you the honest truth. My first week, those 7 days when I did raw vegan diet, do you know what's the first thing I ate on day 8? Bread. I went to Starbucks and I had my 2 favorite things. Coffee. I love coffee. Guys, I love coffee. Like I said, I don't drink alcohol. I've never been an alcohol drinker actually ever in my life. So coffee is like my thing. I would drink like 4 cups of coffee a day. So I went to Starbucks. I was like, I've earned this. I had coffee, and I had a grilled mac and cheese, and not just one. I had like 2 portions. Yeah, I'm a big bag. I just to reward myself, right? So that's when I realized that, is this going to be the habit? I do good things throughout the week, and then cheat day, I just mess the whole thing up. Why not find a sustainable way to do it? So because I knew that it's going to be hard for me to let go of bread per se, I had decided to go on a hunt to do some research, right, of what other things could I eat that are healthier, that would give me the same satisfaction that I get from drinking coffee and eating bread, right? For instance, the thing with the coffee isn't necessarily bad from the research I've done. What makes coffee bad is the stuff we add inside, the sugar, the creamers, the milks, if you do too much of that. But if you regulate those, maybe you use honey instead of sugar, and maybe just one spoon of honey, and maybe don't have 4 cups of coffee a day, right? But the thing for me is, when I drink my coffee, imagine this is a cup, this is my milk, and this is the water. That's how I drink my coffee, with a lot of milk. So I just knew that I needed to change that. So what I've done is I've reduced my coffees to twice a week. Twice a week, I can enjoy a nice cup of coffee however I like it. But I no longer do sugar, I do honey. And I used to do 2 spoons. I only do 1 spoon of honey. But unfortunately, I still do my milk how I want it. But I replaced the full skim milk with low-fat milk. And funny enough, it tastes exactly the same. It tastes the same. So that's what I'm doing. But the thing is, I used to drink like 4 cups of coffee in a day. So I can't go from that to nothing, right? And what I also realized, because I started craving coffee every morning because it was a ritual for me. What I then realized was, it's not necessarily the coffee per se. I've gotten used to like drinking something warm, either in the morning or during the day, or when something stressful is happening. So I thought to myself, what if I find something hot that I can drink that is healthier, that can substitute the coffee on those 5 days, right? And so I started searching around. There's green tea. I do green tea, but there's a concoction that I've really, really fallen in love with it. Actually, I'm doing it right now. I'll show you guys. So I actually just boil hot water, add some ginger, lemon, a spoon of honey, and some what are these leaves called? I don't remember what they're called. My goodness, I'll put the name somewhere here, but I'll show you. So I do that with boiling hot water, and I drink it, and it's still, I feel like I don't crave coffee after that. What is this? It's these pink leaves. I forgot what that is. So I actually, now I just do that. So you see here, I've got my ginger, chopped ginger, lemon, and 1 spoon of honey inside. Then let me just, I actually wouldn't mind drinking it right now as I'm busy doing this. So I do this once a day, and also it's even healthy, and it has great benefits for me. I mean, the lemon, the ginger, the honey, it's just generally very good. Even these leaves that I'm using that I don't remember what they're called. So this is what I have replaced my coffee with for 5 times a week. And then 2 times a week, I can still enjoy my coffee. And it has really helped, because I realized it wasn't necessarily about the coffee. It was just, I wanted to drink something that was hot, because like hot things, somehow they comfort me. I don't know how to explain that. So that's sort of the changes I've been making. And then when it comes to things like bread, I was never a cook. I just would never have considered myself someone that can cook. But I decided to start doing some research on what are some things that I can use to make my own bread at home that is healthy and regulated, that I can enjoy. And I found out that rolled oats is a great flour alternative. So you can make oats bread, and maybe adding some nuts inside, some chia seeds, sunflower seeds. I actually did that, and it's amazing. Crazy thing, it tastes even better than normal bread. So I've started learning things that I can do that are similar to the things I love, but they're just a healthier option, right? And that way it doesn't make me feel like, oh, I'm on a diet and I'm letting go of stuff that I love. So I started making oats bread, and because oats is still a carb, but it's packed with lots of fibers and it's very healthy, I use that as the basis of flour. Sometimes I add like a banana to give it some flavor. Sometimes I just add some cinnamon and some nuts. Maybe I'll do in future, someday I'll just do some videos to share. And I bake the bread with 0 oil, so it's really healthy. And because I make the bread myself, I know what, so I need to check my mic, I know exactly what goes into it, which is great, right? And so, guys, I don't even crave normal bread anymore. In fact, the oats bread that I'm making is so tasty that I don't even understand why I was obsessed with normal bread. So, but also I still have to control how I consume it, right? I don't do oats bread every day, only on days where maybe, let's say, I'm craving a sandwich. I'll then just do the oats bread. I usually have it with a boiled egg and avo, and that's like so tasty and so healthy. So those are the things that I've started doing just to replace. And for instance, when it comes to rice, I didn't even know about this, but this is how the tea looks after I'm done straining it. And then I just drink it, and it's so nice. I really, really enjoy it. When I drink this, I don't even miss coffee. But also, there are days where I'm just like, listen, I need me a cup of coffee. Then I'll get some from my 2 times a week. And if I have coffee 3 times a week, I'm not going to beat myself up, you know. However, I don't remember. And the other thing which I had forgotten is rice, right? I found out that you can use cauliflower as a way to replace rice, and I tried it and I enjoyed it. You basically take cauliflower, white cauliflower, and you put it in a food processor or a blender, and you just let it blend, and you crush it into fine pieces that are similar to the size of rice, and you boil it and you eat it as you would eat rice. And literally, in fact, if you add some turmeric and maybe some paprika and you just season it, it ends up being even nicer than normal rice. Or maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just being the health freak. But these things are even tasting nicer than the other stuff that are not so healthy that I used to think tasted nice. And I don't even do cheat meals anymore. And not to say they're wrong. If I ever want to have a cheat meal, I'll do it. But I've just not felt the need because, like I said, I found a way to satisfy my biggest, I don't know if I should call them cravings, my biggest like issues, the things that I loved the most. I really loved bread and coffee. I've found a way to, substitute that so I don't crave those things anymore. And the reason I loved pizza was because it had bread, right, and cheese. And in regulation, I can still have cheese, right? I can still have mozzarella cheese every now and then, which I still do. But when I have cheese, I make sure everything else is very healthy and good, so I can still, get the benefits of being healthy. So those are the things that I've honestly been doing that have really helped me as someone who's new on this weight loss journey thing. And it's really, really so joyous to know that I can wake up and enjoy stuff that I like without feeling like I'm cheating. And I realized that cooking your own food is one of the best things because you can regulate what goes inside everything you cook. So yeah, these are the things that I've been doing that have really, really helped. I'm still trying to figure this out. I'm still on the journey, trying to understand. So there's still a lot I'm learning, but the stuff that I've learned over the past 4 weeks have really helped me so far, and I'm gonna keep doing them and improving where I can. So yeah, that's how my weight loss or lifestyle change is going. I'm not even liking calling it weight loss anymore because I feel like I'm happy to do this for the rest of my life. If I can make my own bread at home with oats, I think I can do this for the rest of my life. I don't mind. And I saw some recipe on Instagram the other day where they used chickpeas to make bread. I mean, chickpeas are very healthy. So, and I have chickpeas. So I'm looking forward to trying that. And if it tastes good, I have another bread recipe. Like, I don't need to do all this stuff, buy all this processed stuff when I can make my own at home and have the same level of satisfaction. So yeah, if there's anything you take out of this, you're about to start your own weight loss journey, maybe learn from my mistakes. Don't be too hard on yourself. Don't try to follow a strict rule that is set out there because it worked for other people. Sit down and have a conversation with yourself and say, okay, what's my biggest issue? Is it alcohol? Maybe that's what the first thing I need to let go of. What else? What's the second thing? And then just work it down like that. And as you can see, it's a lot of things. There's things that you'll see that you need to let go of. You don't have to do it all at once. For me, I tackled the biggest ones that I knew were the biggest cause, like the carb and stuff, right? And then, like I said, I liked oil. I like putting oil in my food. Unfortunately, I still do. I just don't understand how people are able to cook, especially when you're using a pan, unless you use an air fryer, without using a lot of oil. I don't know, maybe it's the kind of pan I'm using. But the food burns. Like the other day I was making calamari, I was like, oh, just 1 spoon of olive oil. And then, they sucked it all up and I had to just drizzle some more. So I still need to work on that. But I found just a healthier supplement, right? Instead of seed oils, I do extra virgin olive oil, but I still do use quite a lot of oil when I'm cooking food that require like a pan, but I work on it. I'm not trying to be too strict on myself. So yeah, I think that's the best thing I can offer you guys from my own personal experience. Maybe I'll be back in about another month and update this video in terms of anything else that I've learned or anything that I maybe wasn't approaching that well. But adios.